Before April. I think the budget process starts about October.
Does it?
October, November. It's going to come up in a few short months. I think that having current data, current information, being transparent, letting people know exactly the state of the school district. What are the current needs right now? Obviously, there are areas of strength, and there are other areas that perhaps we need to look at putting additional resources. If we can't do everything, then what are the priorities according to hitting the most critical needs? And yes, the taxpayer, the voter, has the ultimate power and authority. When he or she goes to the voting booth, they're going to make a decision about supporting the budget. I want to make sure that that decision is informed and that people understand if we are at a certain level that we develop this budget together, it goes out to the town to be voted on. At this level, this is what's going to happen, and that there's an accountability factor, that it isn't just the allocation of funds and we hope things go well, but that I feel part of my job is to be accountable to the Board of Education, to the town, the greater town. What are the goals that we hope to accomplish? And if you're putting resources there, then we need to see outcomes. So I think that the communication up front about what we hope to accomplish, the accountability loop, that things are moving forward and being accomplished if the town is going to put those resources there, is all part of the cycle of trust and communication. I have met with the parents group just on one occasion and have just said to the parents, I am willing to speak to whoever, whenever you let me know. I think it's important that my voice is heard and that I have an opportunity to be asked questions, to respond, to be an ambassador. And so just not getting the message out, but different venues, different opportunities, informal, formal. I hope to be highly visible in the community. We'll get to a point when the budget goes forward, and I'm sure that you and I will be at many presentations together, but that I can stand there and I could speak to why every single line is there and for what need it represents. And if people say at some point, we don't agree with that, then hopefully we'll have that conversation up front. But I want to make sure at least people have accurate information, there aren't misperceptions that what we put in there is unnecessary, that it is not going towards the students. The future of our students is what we're all about, and I want to make sure I safeguard that the goals that we're supporting are really going to be happening for our students. So I think I have lots of work.
No, we have.
We have.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that one, because there's no way that our offices aren't linked in this process. I worked, I was hoping to work well with Mr. Beitman, and I knew Alan from when he first got here, and worked well with Mr. Getz, and enjoyed being around him. It wasn't always fun conversations, but yeah. It'll be interesting. Taking another little route here, theater arts, music, athletics, the kind of special things that go on at mostly at a high school, but not necessarily. I saw a great presentation at Jockey Hollow. I was invited to that, and my wife and I went, and it was a Dr. Seuss thing, and it was great. Where do those fit in the overall curriculum? I mean, a lot of people say, well, why do you have to do that stuff? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why don't you just focus in on education? How does that fit into the whole overall picture as far as you're concerned?
I think all of those co-curricular activities are an essential part of an education of a child. And when you think about educating the whole child, I don't think any of us expect a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old to sit at a desk and to sit behind a computer all day, that their bodies are developing, and that to be able to play sports, to be on a team, to learn how to be gracious in defeat when your team doesn't win is a life skill that you may not experience by sitting in the classroom in a different way. I doubt many of our students are going on to play professional sports. That is not the goal. The goal is to create those opportunities of wellness, of development that really complement the skill development of our students. And when we think about art, music, theater, I think there could be a natural tendency to say, oh, those are non-essential, let's just cut them out. But rather than think of all of the parts of the curriculum as separate, if we think about them as integrated, if we were really studying the culture of a civilization, wouldn't we want to know about the music and the art and the cultural aspects to understand that civilization? We want our students to be world citizens, and I'm not sure that we can compartmentalize their education into 45-minute segments that aren't connected. I think the connectedness actually is what we need to strive for, and so I think a further integration of those areas actually makes more sense. Will competing financial considerations always make us be as creative as possible? Yes. But the question about merit, I think that there is much research that talks about how these areas of study enhance children's lives. And again, our students may not be professional singers, dancers, but the joy of music, again, the integration into other curricular areas, I think cannot be minimized.
Yeah, no, they do a tremendous job, whether it's the theater arts program, the music program, or the sports program at Massac. They do a tremendous job getting kids involved. I know I was fortunate enough to be at the Sports Awards the other night to honor our state class double L champion softball team. And they just, everybody is just incredible. And you're right, nobody's going to play on the Yankees or
that's not the goal.
Yeah, that's not the goal. But it also brings up a related question of the resource allocation. And there's so many people competing, whether it's people who want science labs versus people that want more theater arts versus people that think we ought to have more math classes. How do you've had experience in dealing with this in the past, how do you kind of come to the right balance with that? And I don't expect this is a Monroe answer, but just in general.
After 2 days?
No. We'll ask that in 3 days.
How do we prioritize? As I step back and I look at education in general, the cornerstone of any educational program is literacy. So if I have to say that the foundation of any school system is the literacy of its students, in terms of making sure that all of our students are reading on grade level. Numeracy after that are the two core components that you want to make sure every student, I think, is entitled to literacy skills, numeracy skills that open up other worlds. As we begin to look at that data and say, how is the performance of all our students, and we're at a point where a reading teacher is needed versus some other area. I think that is where, if we can't do everything, we have to make a decision. Do we go back and do a few the core things and do them very well, or do we do this at 80% and still try to maintain some over here? I think this is where the mission and the vision of the district are going to guide our direction. If we get to a point that we can't do everything, it will be important that we also convey the message to our colleges and receiving institutions that if our students' resumes are not complete, it's not because they didn't take courses, or it's not because they didn't have the opportunity for co-curricular, but it's because we're not able to offer that. That's not a place where I hope to be. Our high school's up for accreditation next year.
And we're going to end it on that. First, I want to thank you so much for coming today. I hope Monroe got a great view of introduction to our new superintendent. I'm looking forward to working with her. Our town's excited about you being here. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you all for watching another edition of Monroe on the Record.